Today we're going to go through some scenarios within our defensive zone. And just to start, I want to kind of go through a few key concepts that we've learned in the past, just as a quick review. So the first thing is we want to recognize that we're still trying to protect the house, right? So what that means is we're not trying to let anyone on the other team get into this area with the puck, and that's pretty much our primary purpose when we're actually defending our zone, is to make sure that players don't get into this area. And what that really means is that we got to do a great job at getting our sticks in lanes to block people and passes and the puck from getting in. We obviously have to make sure that we're playing the body and pushing players out of this house. And we also got to make sure that when there are pucks around the house that we try to get there first. We want to get first to the puck, so then we have control of it. We can make a decision and move the puck out a lot quicker. The other key thing here is that we have this green line down the middle. And the reason why I have that line there is just to quickly review the strong side and weak side of the ice. So the strong side is always the side with the puck. So if the puck's on this side, essentially this entire side of the ice is the strong side. If that puck moves to the other side, this now becomes the strong side, and the other side that does not have the puck is the weak side. So within this video, you'll hear me talk a lot about strong side and weak side. That's kind of what I'm referring to. The other thing you'll hear me talk about is when the puck is either on the wall, so the wall or all the boards. So if the puck's along the boards, that's called the wall. I'll also talk about how the puck goes from low to high. So if a player has the puck down low, they're usually in the corner, that's low. And then if they get it up to the blue line, that would be going to high. So that's a high part of the zone. Okay, so those are kind of some of the key things that I'm going to talk about as we go through this. Scenario one is when the puck is in our corner, which happens quite a lot in a game. So say the puck's in the far corner, and the other team, who are the X's here, are going to get to that puck first. So this happens probably 10, 11 times in a game. And it's really important for us to kind of defend our end and get control of that puck so they can't get the puck in the house, and then we can kind of break the puck out. So the first most important thing is whenever that player's in the corner with that puck, we got to make sure our defenseman is in there. So in this instance, they're going to be the D1. Because they're closest to the puck. Usually they're like on this side of the ice, they would be the left defenseman. So they're going to attack and be aggressive on that player. Their main job on a one-on-one like this is actually to pin that player against the board. So they want to hold them there, make sure they control the body, and then they can pull the puck out themselves or they can get support. So the other team usually will have two players on this. So they'll have like one player down low, maybe the other player will be helping, supporting, trying to dig that puck out, or they might come up top, or they might even be down low in this corner. So it's really important that the next player that's in here to help is usually our center. So what that means is our center is usually in helping, or our one forward's usually in helping that defenseman. So it's really important for them not to get super engaged in this puck. We don't want two players on this one player because that leaves a person open. And we also don't want any of these players, this D1 or the center, to get behind the puck, which means if our goalie's here and the puck is there, we want to make sure our defense are always in between the puck and the goalie, and same with the center. So the center's role is kind of the second layer of defense, right? So first layer of defense is D1. They're in the corner, they're pinning that player, they're pushing them against the wall. If that player breaks that and gets around them, our center is the support person. So they're now the second layer of defense, and they can pressure and keep that puck out of the zone. What also happens a lot is the puck can get filtered down low or cycled down low. At that point, what happens is the center needs to attack, and they kind of become the D1 in this situation. So they're going to push that player again, attack, defend, keeping their body position in between the net and the puck. And then this D1 now needs to recognize that they also need to now back up a bit, and now they have to re-engage and be in between the goal and the puck. So as that puck's kind of moving up, D1 again is backing out. What happens a lot, and when this breaks down, is when there's a battle and we get on the opposite side of these defense. So our D1 and our center actually end up getting pinned, and then the puck bounces out, and now no one's in between the goalie and that puck, and it's an easy drive to that house to get the puck in. So it's really important that the center and the defense in that corner are communicating really, really well. Okay? So we'll go back to this scenario, puck's in the corner. There's also obviously other players that are on the ice. So the other team usually will have their third forward usually in the high slot. So sometimes they'll put them down in front of the net. That's an aggressive forecheck. Or they'll put them high up top. So they'll be floating around here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're even higher. And why that's important is if that player is in the house, we got to make sure we're protecting that house. So the other D, who is our D2, the situation, D2, they would start, say, in front of the net just to make sure no one's there, but then they would have to recognize, oh, that's my player out there. So they may not want to go all the way out here because, again, that's leaving quite the open lane here. They're almost layer 3 of support, but they do want to recognize that that player's coming in and that's their player to actually guard. So if that player does go in front of the net, they want to try to stay in between the goalie and them, and their eyes are watching the puck, they're scanning the ice, they're reading the plays, and they're making sure they're protecting the front of our goal. Okay? So the other key thing that happens a lot in this is this player will sit right about here, and then our defense get confused. Should I take that player? Should I not? And this is actually where our wingers, our other forwards, will help out. So the forward on this side, which is usually our left winger, we'll put them there, they need to recognize that this player is out top and they need to help and support that player. So they're kind of paying attention, watching that player. If that puck does come out to them, they're there to protect. And they're, again, on the strong side of the ice still. So they're watching. Again, they're in the house. Now, sometimes what happens is we might get control of this puck and our winger thinks that there's going to be a pass up the boards, and they go to the boards like this, and then this player loses the puck and leaving that player open, right? So the D and the left winger are kind of double doing this. They're double teaming this, so they got to make sure that they're both watching and making sure that they're covering that player that's in the slot. Okay? The right winger in this situation is usually in and around the center of the ice as well, because the puck is on the strong side. They want to be on the strong side of the ice too. Okay? Because right now they're guarding technically this defenseman as well. So this defenseman may be up here. They could be over here, but they're not really a threat if they're way over here, right? So that right winger doesn't need to be really watching that, because that puck's got to come a long way to get to them, right? So they're kind of more in the middle, and they're also helping out the high slot. So again, everyone's kind of protecting the house, making sure that the pucks don't get into this house, and they're helping out and helping their defenders that are in the corner. Okay, so say the puck ends up coming up the wall like this. Say this defender gets beat, and this player starts to attack the house. Oh. So they start to attack the house. In this situation, the winger needs to help out, because if the D pulls off, or if they're not communicating well, the winger needs to help out, and then the D, of course, is going to be chasing. So again, they're supporting, they're blocking the entry into that house. So it's really, really important that we kind of use everyone here to protect that house. We do not want anyone in. Okay, so we want to try to keep people to the outside. All right. Next most important thing is the way you guys actually position your sticks. Okay, so I'll give you an example here. If we want to push people from getting inside the house, if this left winger has their stick like this, and this player comes out to here, that's an easy pass through that lane into the house, right? So we got to position our sticks in a way that block those passes from getting into the house. So we want to have active, great sticks, and we're blocking these lanes. So say this player gets over here, again, now the defenseman is paying attention, they're watching, they're blocking lanes, right? So they're not letting this player even pass the puck into the house. So we're trying to keep the puck out of it, right? So they're using their sticks to get into lanes. And again, same with this right winger, right? If their stick is not helping support, so if that puck's over there, they got to read that. Oh, my stick's got to be in the lane here. So if that puck does try to go through, say that player's here, if that puck does try to go through, you got 4 sticks you got to get through. So it's really important that our sticks are constantly moving and blocking those puck lanes. So if that's a lane, they got to get their stick down, ready to block it. Scenario 2 happens quite a bit when the puck goes from the strong side of the ice. So say the puck's over here, and say it's a pass down here, and somehow it ends up over here. But all the players now are on this side of the ice. So what happens in this situation is usually the forwards on the other team would attack down low. So they're going to go through. And this player is probably going to attack. And then this F3, who's up on the other team, is usually going to shoot down. So in this situation, what needs to happen is there needs to be a switch. So a weak side switch, we'll call it. So as the defense in the corner is skating out, they can't necessarily chase that puck down. They need to burst out in front, and then they got to yell switch off. So as they're coming in, switch, and that D is now going in and attacking. So in an ideal situation, this D in front of the net needs to be paying attention, and they need to make that switch quick and try to get to that puck first. If they can get to that puck first and then break it out the zone, that's the best solution. But even if they can't get there first and they have to pin this player, that's okay too. But the only way this works is if our D1, because they're going to get someone across, needs to get to the front of that net, right? That's that defenseman that was in that corner needs to get to the front of the net. So this person actually becomes the D1, because then now they're closest to the puck. This player becomes the D2. Okay? So one thing that also happens sometimes in games is this center sometimes gets caught, and they'll go behind the net, and then this player will bounce out, and it'll be a race, right? So centers always want to take, if that does happen where the puck goes across, they always want to take a front of the net. They want to go through the house because they're protecting it. So they want to come around, try to fight through. If they do go behind the net, they got to be fast and quick, but ultimately they're trying to get over to be that second layer of defense, right? So if D1's our first layer, our center's going over, they got to protect the house and then pressure the puck, okay? And then usually the other player's going in. Now, occasionally what does happen, if I go back to this scenario here, sometimes what happens is this forward may do a good play and take the puck on their own. In this instance, the defense still needs to carry. There's no switch over, because if there's a switch, this player gets an open lane to wrap it around. So that defense needs to stay with that player. And in this instance, they're going to battle, try to pin them, try to get control of them. Same with the center, right? So depending on where that player's going, they might burst out in front. But again, the defense, depending on the situation, need to communicate. And if they're doing a switch because the puck is passed across from strong side to weak side, they got to yell switch and communicate. If they're not communicating, this all breaks down and fails, and then we leave people in the zone. Okay? At the same time this is all happening, our wingers need to be paying attention as well, because this player is going to swing across. Their defenseman, the other defense is going to swing across. We got to make sure our wingers are also swinging across to their spots. So again, if their F3 is now farther up, they're going to be cutting through the lane. The right winger needs to help out there too, so they need to protect the house. So they're swinging over and they're making sure that they're watching anyone that's in the house. Same with the left winger. So everyone's got to help out, and we got to get 5 players over to the strong side of the ice, just like we had them on the strong side on the opposite side, right? Finally, what happens a lot is the puck will come around the boards, and the winger, the defense will pinch. It's okay for the winger to leave the house as long as they feel like they have a shot at getting that puck, right? So they can leave the house and get that puck and be aggressive and attack it and get that puck possession, and either when they're coming up the wall, they can chip it off the wall, they can make a breakout pass. But ultimately, the winger needs to be paying attention. They need to be anticipating what's happening. And if they believe they can get that puck, it's okay to leave their position, but they just need to pay attention to what they're doing. If this does happen, same thing goes, right? We always need that second line of defense. So if that right winger's layer 1, the center is always going to be behind the puck. They're the second layer. And then, of course, the D1 is the third layer, protecting the house, right? So we got to make sure we're communicating, we're paying attention to where our teammates are going, and we're making smart decisions. All right. So say the puck is down in the corner. D1 is on that puck. The center is the second layer of defense. Say they have 2 forwards here. Sometimes what happens is this winger, again, mentioned this earlier, will get caught on the boards. And what happens is that leaves this whole area open, right? So this F3 can come over. So if that does happen, the defense need to pay attention, and this other winger can help out and support as well. Again, we're not letting anyone get into this house, right? So in theory, this winger shouldn't be over against this wall. They should be really protecting the house unless they absolutely feel like, hey, I can get that puck, I can drive it out. Or if they do get in, the center needs to back out, defense needs to come up and support, right? So we're all helping each other in our own end. So first layer of defense, second layer of defense. All right, so scenario 3 is usually when the puck goes from low to high, okay? So if we watch in this situation, the puck's in the corner, they shoot it up the wall with a pass. So as soon as the puck gets here, 2 things are going to happen usually. One, all these forwards are usually going to attack the net. Sometimes they may come up for a wall pass, but usually they're going to attack the net. When you're boxing out your players, a lot of defense and center think that, oh, boxing out happens in front of the house. No, boxing out starts in the corner. You don't want this X to get into this house. So you can start boxing them out, getting in their way and not letting them get to the house. You don't want to take them down and get an interference penalty, but you could definitely get in their way and not let it, or make it very difficult for them to get to that house, and they got to work to get to that house. So they're going to try to fight in. This player's going to fight in. At the same time, while this puck's coming up high, this is when the winger needs to get out and get into the shooting lane, right? So they're going to blast out fast, quick, and what they're going to really do is they're going to try to angle this player to the wall. So what I mean by that is if they think this defenseman's going to shoot the puck, they want to get their body in between the puck and the net, right? Not their stick. So if they're like this, they're coming out. If they're positioned like this with their stick on the right of their body and they're coming out, that's not really the greatest position. They might block the shot if that shoots. The defenseman shoots it, but this defenseman has an option to pass it across. Right? So what we want to do is we actually want to move this stick to the other side. So when they're coming in, they're still in that shooting lane, but their stick is positioned in a lane where they're blocking the body in the pass. So really at this point, the only option is they can force a shot through, which I'll block, the right winger will block, or they'll try to pass it across where I can interflect that with the stick, or they'll go down low, right? And if the puck's down low, it's not really a threat to us right now. We're trying to keep the puck out of the net, right? So that's a great play. At the same time, this left winger needs to anticipate this. The D's going to now box up, make sure that they're watching that F3 that's high. The left winger still needs to pay attention to that player, but they're also starting to get ready to go across. So if they're anticipating that that puck's going to go from D to D, same thing. They need to get out and block that shot. All right, so they're not turning and facing away. They're stopping and facing the puck. All right, so one thing I noticed a lot last season when we did block shots is that our bodies weren't in the lane of the puck. They were in the lane of the body. So what I mean by that is if this player's shooting and you're parallel with them, you're not actually parallel with the puck, right? So if you're just coming straight at them like this, they could shoot the puck around you because their puck is not right on their body, right? It's off their body, so it's over here. So where you want to be positioned is right here. And same thing, you want your stick positioned in a way that's forcing them to go the opposite direction of the house, right? You don't want them to get into that house, so you're forcing them outside of it. So again, you're coming in, your body as a winger is positioned to block that shot, and your stick is taking away the lane. Okay, so that's what happens when the puck goes from low to high. Just as a recall, the defense and the center need to start boxing out from the corner out, not just from front of the net. Again, we got to anticipate the players in front. And we got to make sure we're boxing them out. We're pushing them. We're using our body. We're not necessarily lifting sticks and whacking sticks at that point, but our stick is ready and engaged on the ice, taking away shot lanes and making sure that passes aren't getting. The final scenario is if the puck does get into the house. So say this player up here shoots the puck and it gets through to the house. So it gets in, And now all of a sudden there's a race, a battle. At this point, we need, as soon as that puck gets in this house, no matter where it is, we need everyone to collapse to help out. So we need our left wingers to blast back. And instead of just chasing pucks down and swinging at pucks, what we should be doing is lifting the other team's sticks because they need their stick to score. And we're pushing their bodies, right? So we're boxing out by using our stick to lift their sticks and our bodies to push them out. So if we can control the player, the attacking player's stick first by actually taking away their hands and their stick, then they can't shoot, right? So if we control their stick and their body, the puck will just sit there. And at that point, then we can clear it or our goalie can cover it, right? And it's really, really important, again, to control the player, not just scramble around and wave our sticks at pucks. Okay, so we're controlling, lifting sticks, pushing bodies. Once we get control of this puck, it's really, really important that we use our vision, right? And we actually clear it with purpose. So if we just get it and shoot it away and not look, or shoot it this way and not look, it could end up on another player's stick. So we want to make the smart play. So once we get that puck, it's either a little pass to our winger, or it's a clear up the wall, or it's I'm going to skate with the puck down the wall. I'm getting the puck out of the house quickly and making smart decisions with it and breaking the puck out the ice.